Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Siguro po simulan ko muna na a little backgrounder about our agency, the Philippine Economic Zone Authority. So, mangyari po, kami ho yung ahensya sa gobyerno na nag-designate ng areas all over the Philippines as economic zones. So, we were created in 1995. If you recall, we had this predecessor in EPSA, in what we call Export Processing Zone Authority, established in 1969 by then President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. So we were second in Taiwan, in the region, next to Taiwan, to have experimented with the ecozones. So since 1969, in 1995 we were created, and so since then, we were responsible for the creation of economic zones. Sa ngayon, meron na tayong 422 operating economic zones. Ito po ay iba-ibang economic zones. Meron tayong manufacturing, meron tayong agri-industrial, tourism, meron tayong IT/BPM, and all these 422 operating economic zones are home to more than 4,300 export-oriented operator companies. So we happen to be a big contributor to the economy. Almost 17% of the country's GDP, more than 50% to 60% of the total country's exports of goods and services come from locators of PESA alone. Si Presidente, when the President assumed into office, at that time in 2022, we were recovering from COVID pandemic. So when the President assumed into office, second half of this administration, we were able to quickly recover, achieving 103% increase in investments. In 2023, we even achieved a higher investments, 25% growth, 175.7 billion pesos. So from 140.7 na base figure natin in 2022, in 2023, 25% increase, 175.7 billion pesos. So, madalas tayo natatanong how much of these investments can we attribute to the travels of the President. So, we run the figures, simpleng basihan lang, ito yung mga pinuntahan ng mga bansa ni Presidente. So, from our running of the figures, easily 43% of our 175.7 billion pesos, or roughly 75 billion pesos, easily can be attributed to the presidential visits. Although, sabi na ho namin, ang pananaw ho namin dyan, it doesn't have to be tied up to the presidential visits kasi practically lahat ng pumapasok na investments, lalo na yung foreign direct investments, we can very well attribute to the incumbent president at current administration. So, ganun ho kami kabulish ngayon. Kahapon ho, nagkaroon ho kami ng board meeting. And for March, ngayon pa lang po, if you will allow me, I will now share with the media our approval. Just yesterday, our board meeting, we added another 2.854 billion pesos. 2.854 billion pesos, which is 21.8% higher than the same period last year at 2.343 billion pesos. So, if you will sum up our first quarter performance, January to March, already, January to March, 14.951 billion pesos in investments. 14.951 billion pesos in investments, which is 19.25% higher than 12.537 billion pesos achieved in the same period last year. So all our indicators are up. For exports and employment, isang pangitayin ho na tuloy-tuloy ho ang upward trajectory ng kita natin for 2024, which is something that we will expect for 2024 and onwards because the Philippines happens to have the highest GDP growth rate in ASEAN.
Basically, the exemption for VAT is through a law, yung PA law. So those medicine has been declared by the FDA, endorsed to the BIR para matanggal or mawala yung ban. Basically, sa continuing process So, kung yung mga essential medicines sa ng batas, usually mga hypertensive, anti-diabetic. Basically, for the Filipino people, yun yung mga pang-araw-araw ninyong iniinom, yung mga sakit, chronic diseases. Hindi lang po doon natatapos yung listahan. So, it's a continuing evolving process. And as we increase the list, we also decrease the list. Kasi last time I issued a endorsement to the BIR, delisting some of the equipments or the items that was used during the pandemic. Since it was not, we lifted the public health emergency, there's no need for them to be not exempted. So, kasama po yan sa batas. So, kung yung tanong po ninyo, ito po ba ay ginawa lang ng FDA, ito ba? Well, it is a mandate by the law. But until the final say will be the BIR. We only endorse it to the BIR. Kasi kami po yung nag-determine kung ano para saan talaga yung gamot eh. So, BIR magsasabi ko paano yung mekanismo, paano tatanggalin. So, it's a joint process with the FDA and BIR. Actually, ang ganda nga ng batas na yun kasi as far as I know, is on top yung senior citizen discount. So, kung ba't accepted sa senior citizen, it will help a lot. Lalo na yung mga elderly, saka yung may mga chronic diseases. Plus, recently, I re-emphasize po yung main guidelines for the availment of the senior citizen. Actually, it was been there for many years. Re-emphasize ko lang kasi I've been bombarded by complaints that hindi daw na-acknowledge yung mga reseta. Kaya gusto daw nila kasi over-the-counter kasi na medicines, they require prescription for them to be acknowledged para mag-senior citizen. Eh, wala naman po kasi doon sa administrative order. So, I-emphasize, huwag nyo na pong hanapan kasi unang-unang, kaya nga po over-the-counter yun. Hanapan mo ng prescription drug. Although the pharmacy stores are telling that the people that tend to abuse kasi nila, ginagamit yung senior citizen. But sabi ko sa, we talk about it, meron naman mga booklet para for you to monitor. So we just re-emphasize kung ano talaga yung existing guidelines and for strict compliance. And after this, I will issue a parang placard to call on them. Post nila yan sa mga kanilang retail outlet. So that the patient o yung mga nag-a-avail na senior citizen, alam nila yung karapatan nila. No, aside from the local media pronouncement namin, alam din nila yung karapatan nila na dapat pala talaga walang prescription. No, then we can avail also the counter medicine.
Looking forward, baka maging parang Starbucks yan. Hindi pwedeng bumili ng marami. Para sa senior citizen discount, ang pwedeng bilhin isang tasang kape lang o binibigyan ng discount. Paano yung matanda na madalang makapunta ng butika? Minsan namimili sila ng gamot for 1 month, 2 months. Hindi pinapayagan nito ng butika as of now. Kasi akala ibinibenta ng matanda yung gamot. At nag-aabi lamang ng 20% off.
Yung sinasabi ko po na prescription, is for the over-the-counter.
Yes, yes.
Pero if you will avail for the antibiotics, which is a prescription medicine, di ba show prescription? And doon pala sa prescription na yon, as a doctor, kasi yun ang practice namin, we call that yung parang dispensing. May number yan, o ilan. Hindi kami usually, meron kami limit sa medicine practice na hindi namin pwedeng ibigay lifetime. Kasi napapasuko yung prescription may date yan. So usually good for 1 month ang binibigay namin for the prescription medicine. But over the counter, you don't need the prescription medicine. Bakit? Example, let's be practical about it. Diba? For example, si nanay, si tatay, nagkaroon ng ubusipon. Diba? Usually hindi naman papacheck up yung driver kasi mag-home remedy yan muna. So, with regards to nakuha abuso o nag-iimpok, they have movements for that. Director Cecilia Manches is the head of the medical device. So, he's an integral part of the pharma, so that will be discussed later. So, the FDA and the PESA is a love made in heaven. So, talagang yan ang namin yan, partner na. But, before the sectoral meeting, the President told us that before we do the pharma zone, and if we talk about pharma zone, it's not pharmaceuticals only for drug. But it must, I told the President, it must be holistic. No, kasi ang healthcare does not involve only a drug. It also involves medical device. Ibig sabihin na medical device, example, orthopedic, kung nabalihan kayo ng puto, di ba may bakal yun? Yung mga ganon. So dapat holistic ang approach, not only for the medicine, but also the supply of the hospital. And kumbaga kung gagawa na lang din kami ng isang bagay, sa kanila namin. So, andyan po si Director Cecil Kasi for the part ng medical device, she will formulate the policy so that it will be incorporated sa pharma dev zone na. Dati pharma zone lang. Kaya dev, pharma should.
Yeah, i-encourage yun natin yung mga local production ng mga medical devices, and we have one project din to encourage the production of local devices that will cater to more on the rural areas. Kasi the healthcare usually nakafocus sa urban. So yung sa rural naman, marami na tayong mga researchers din na gumagawa ng medical devices, so might as well encourage them to do some medical devices naman na will cater the rural, so to improve the healthcare delivery system sa rural areas.
Ano po ba yung mga devices na pamunahin kailangan sa ating bansa na pwedeng mapunan sa programa po ninyo ng PESA?
Depende yan sa sa capability ng ating mga researchers. So, for example, yung sinasabi namin project, marami sa rural natin, wala pa rin kuryente, mahirap yung sasakyan. So for example, sa isang baby na premature, so incubator, we need incubator. Pero kung wala ka namang kuryente sa rural, wala rin gamit ng incubator. So we encourage researchers to do something that will mimic the womb of a woman, na pwede mong ibaba yung baby, a premature baby, down to the nearest referral hospital. So yun yung mga challenges sa mga researchers natin na nagsisimulang mag-ano ngayon through yung biomedical engineering concept na under naman yun ng DOS. No? So we partner with other research agencies for this one.
So during the pandemic kasi, as you know, nagkaroon tayo ng problema noon, di ba? Ultimong gamot sa sipon, ultimong paracetamol, wala tayong mabili. So what we thought with the President when we talk about it, because the medicine relied heavily on importation. And nakita natin, or nagulat tayo sa katotohanan, kapag may pandemya pala at meron palang emergency ng health tungkol sa ganito, each country will look on themselves. And during that time, hindi capable o hindi masyado madami yung mga drug manufacturer natin. And it will be the source sana ng mga gamot that are essential for the pandemic. So yun po yung yun po yung lesson learned during the pandemic na kinakailangan natin punan. Dahil ayaw na natin maulit talaga yun. Kasi during that time, we rely heavily on importation. There will come a time that we will be dependent on them. And kailangan po natin dito sa Pilipinas is self-sustainability, drug accessibility, self-sustainability. And kapag marami po sa merkado, import and locally produced, syempre of course, the normal process for it is that the prices will drop. So yun po yung role ng FDA po dito. Kasi regulatory kami. We don't regulate the price. We only regulate the product. If we do come in the product we produce locally, tataas yung maraming gamot available for you, for the Filipino people, and the prices will go down. It's a basic tenet. If the supply is about a high, the demand will be low. And the supply is above, the competition will be great, bababa lahat ng presyo, win-win situation po lahat ng Pilipino. That's why the formulation of PharmaDexone is very crucial for the healthcare system. Sabi ko nga kanina, it's a love made in heaven with PESA. So what will happen here is that we will streamline all the process. We're ongoing right now. We will increase the prolongation of the CPR or the LTO to of the very necessary licenses for the pharmaceutical and medical device stakeholders. At the same time, we will tailor it, not already tailor it, without compromising the safety and efficacy of the products. We tailor it for them to comply. And because the PESA is already, we will focus on exportation and the part of is for domestic use. Nag-usap na kami nung nakaraang linggo when we formulated how to do it. So this not only with PESA, FDA, it also involves the Office of the President, it also involves the ARTA, it also involves the Bureau of Customs. That's why Special Assistant to the President, Federico, will be on top of it. And then we will have a technical working group that has been already started since last week. So we will conceptualize, kumbaga sa ngayon, sa tao, may skeleton na po kami. Susunod natin, lalagyan natin ng laman, lalagyan natin ng balat, lalagyan naman natin ng damit.
Gusto ko lang ibahagi na sa PESAHO, meron ako tayong ino-host ng mga global industry leaders pagdating sa mga manufacturing ng medical devices. So, nandyan ho yung mga gumagawa ng blood monitor na electronic, yung syringe, hindi lang ho yan, pati yung wire na ginagamit para sa mga angioplasty, yung high-tech na hospital beds na number 1 sa US. So, ito po, nakapagtalaga na ho kami ng mga 25 billion pesos na investments providing jobs to 19,000 direct jobs to Filipinos. Out of these 26 na mga medical devices manufacturers natin, meron din ho kami isang into one company to drug manufacturing. So, pangyari ho, dito sa pinaplano natin ng FDA, yung PharmaDev, hindi ho lahat kayang gawin agad ng mga Pilipino. Although may marami tayong mga galing. Kailangan natin ng collaboration between these global industry leaders para sa ganun, over time, ma-expose sila sa mga technology at magkaroon din tayo ng sarili natin mga develop ng mga products, medical products including devices. So yun yung vision natin sa pamamagitan ng PharmaDev Zones. Kaya nga, in-offer natin ng PESA dahil kami lang mo talaga ang may unique mandate na mag-create ng economic zone. So yung mga namumuhunan, kailangan nila makita yung isang hindi lang location but yung ecosystem, yung clustering ng mga industries. And it's because of the fiscal incentives that we grant to these investors, not just foreign but including local, so that they can be competitive in the market, whether global or local. Malaking bagay ho ang gagawin ng FDA. Pag kami ho we will enter into a MOA to make sure na hindi lang ho magaling tayo sa investment promotion but more importantly, investment facilitation. So dyan papasok yung mga guidelines na tatalaga, lalo na ng FDA sa licensing, registration, to ensure na magiging mabiliso more than the prescribed timelines ng ARTA para lalo tayong makilala sa buong mundo na kaya natin makapagsabayan sa larangan ng pharma and medical device.